Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 22-year-old competitive boulder from Canada, currently living near Frankfurt, Germany. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I record all of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. Today we're at Boulderwelt for our campus session, and as you'll notice, our sort of usual 2-day block of training is a bit scrambled up. Usually we have a boulder session on day one, session one, and then we do like either a campus session or spray wall as our second section of the day. But the reason that our sessions are sort of just scrambled up a bit is because, as you can see on our program, we have a fun video planned for tomorrow. So I mentioned this a few episodes ago, I don't really remember when, but the head setter of Studio Block approached me and he was like, hey, I think it would be cool if we could film like a video about the setting at Studio Block. And I was so excited for that. I was like super excited when he came to me with that idea, and I said, yeah, absolutely. And so we scheduled it for tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is we'll probably just like film a video of like the setting process and probably interview like some of the setters. And then what I'll do is I'll go and I'll forerun the boulders. So we're going to set the compo tomorrow. So I'll go and I'll forerun the boulders with the setters and basically just treat that as my boulder session that I have on the program. So we have the same 4 sessions of these 2 days of training. I just mixed up the order because of we had scheduled this video for tomorrow. And I don't want to boulder today because then I am doing like 2 boulder sessions because I'll have to boulder again tomorrow. So I just mixed up the order of the sessions. So what we're doing is we're canvassing first, which I don't usually do. I never really do like canvassing as the day 1, session 1. So I was interested to see how I felt today. That being said, it was kind of a unique feeling day to day because, you know, we have had like a bunch of rest days in the past couple of days just because we had a comp and I wanted to sort of feel like nice for that. And then the competition was only 1 day of training in a row. And so I was like feeling like a bit rested and like a bit like almost dormant, like my body wasn't like sort of in the groove. So I needed a little bit to get going, but then I was feeling like all right for today. And so today, obviously, we're having a campus session here at Boulderwelt. It's been a while since I've had just like a normal campus session on the spray wall here at Boulderwelt. Like we've been doing like a bunch of funky stuff recently. Sometimes we were campusing on the wood board at Studio Block. We campused on like the boulders at Studio Block the other day, and then like a couple weeks ago, we campused on like a boulder here at Boulderwelt, like on the comp wall. So it's actually been a while since I've just had a dedicated like spray wall campus session, which is obviously sort of our bread and butter and what we've usually been doing. So I was I was psyched to just have a nice classic spray wall campus session today. And what I did is I made 2 brand new boulders. So I'm not trying any projects today. I wanted to sort of just have a nice like start a sort of fresh day, get psyched about some new boulders. And as you can see, we're trying something super cool here. This boulder was a lot of fun. This was like a really nice style of campus boulder. We start off with a couple physical moves. And then as you can see, I was trying to hold like the sloper and this like slopey crimp together individually for a while. But then what I realized is I came up with this beta where it was too hard to hold these 2 holds together because they were just both too slopey. So what I did is I made this little mini paddle actually where I sort of do this crimp paddle and I have to paddle to this white edge, which is like pretty good. It's like quite in-cut. And so that allows me to stop my swing, whereas I couldn't do it just on those 2, like on the sloper and the slopey crimp together. So it made for like a really cool like little crimp paddle. And then this next move is crazy. The hold that we're going to is like pretty decent. It is super slippery though. It's like quite the old hold. And so I was finding myself not being able to use friction at all. I just had to like make sure I had 0 momentum when I hit the sloper in order to try and stick it because like I couldn't just sort of let the friction like save you, like a sort of move that, or like most of the time on that sort of like a jump to a sloper, the friction can kind of save you at the end before you fall. But on this situation, you had to be absolutely perfect or there's no chance of you holding onto this hold. And you'll notice I'm actually using a skill that we've been talking about a lot recently, which is my side-to-side swing. And it was interesting how I was sort of utilizing it here. I like it's like it's like obviously a campus boulder, and it doesn't seem like a sort of move that you'd want to use for a campus boulder. Usually you sort of do this move when we're going to like jump on a volume and like step like that. That being said, there was that climb at Boulderhaus we did a while where we did like that sort of side-to-side campus paddle, and that was like had no feet involved, so it was sort of like a similar element that we use in this boulder, where I have these 2 crimps. I do like a side-to-side swing a bit, and that gives me enough momentum and like helps me throw my momentum in the exact way I want it to go catch this yellow hold. And you can see I finally stuck that move individually. Such like a superhero feeling move. That was a lot of fun. I couldn't quite put the boulder together, like link the 2 cruxes, so maybe I'll try this again for one more session and see if we can finish it off. So this next boulder we're trying is the only other campus boulder we got on for the session. This one is also really fun. I was like definitely feeling like I was in the mood to have a fun campus session, so I made another like fun movement-based campus boulder. And like that first attempt there was like my original version of the boulder. I was going to try and use this like colorful pinch here in the middle, but it ended up being too bad, so I changed it to this white hold. And here you can see our ending sequence that we're going for is like this sort of paddle. And I actually found myself sort of like relearning some of my skills that I've talked about in the past with my paddles and like sort of campus paddles. And as you can see, like on my first attempt there where I just fell, I sort of tried to go like paddle, 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 which is a sort of default mindset that most people have, and I myself also have a lot of the times when you just see like a sort of paddle where it's like hold, hold, hold. Your sort of default mindset is to just kind of like pull your way through the holds as fast as possible because they're too bad to hold on individually. But I found myself needing to use one of my own tips of the day that I gave like a couple weeks ago, where I said that you should try and break your paddles up into separate moves oftentimes, and that'll allow you to sort of like be able to almost like create two separate moves and then think about it where like here you can see like instead of trying to go paddle, 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 what I did is I noticed that I could do basically one move to the sloper and then almost create a new move where I just did a double clutch to these last two holds. And oftentimes that just allows you to sort of it allows your body and your mind to sort of understand what it's about to do better. So your body is going to have a really difficult time processing like move, 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 and not giving enough time to sort of think about what holds you're grabbing and like sort of like get any purchase on them. Whereas by breaking it up into two moves, all of a sudden, all my body has to do is focus on hitting this sloper, and that's a super easy move. It's a simple move where you just are sort of doing one pull, and then like immediately you just create a new move where, okay, now I have another simple move where I just like do a double clutch for the finish. And so this isn't my tip of the day for today. I got another one later, but this is me like having to remember one of my previous tips of the day, which is that it helps to break up campus paddles often, or just paddles in general. If you can break them up into a couple different moves, it can often help your mind process the move better. And so that wrapped up our campus session. I saw this like cool little boulder that I could try and campus on their sort of traverse wall that's like sort of opposite the spray wall. And so that's sort of what I finished my session off with. And now here, check out this clip. So this is obviously has to do with the title of the video, which is my German secret. So this is a tattoo I have on my torso. And so this word that I have tattooed on my body is Gemüse, which is the German word for vegetables. And now you might be wondering, why on earth do you have the word vegetables tattooed on your body? And it's a bit of a fun story. So Maddie and I, like within our first week of dating, we visited Germany before like the Switzerland World Cup. We did some training in Germany just to like, get off the jet lag. And we had a few training sessions, probably like 4 or 5 days of training at Studio Block. And that was our first time there. And then after our sort of little month in Europe, we went back home in Canada. And then we were like obviously getting to know each other. So we were like being extra goofy and extra silly. And so basically I lost a bet. And the bet was that if I lose this bet, I have to get a tattoo on my body. And it's Maddie's choice of any word. And so we were obviously just in Germany, and Germany was on the mind, so she chose a German word for vegetables. And so there's a little fun fact about me. And now, as you can see, what we have on the screen here, like I've mentioned previously, this is what we're going to start doing with our workouts, is I'm going to just put some old clips of my boulders, like from my like sort of archive of videos that I have on my drive of like old ascents of mine. And we can talk about those while the workout is happening, because the workout can just be tedious sometimes once you've seen the same workout a bunch of times. So that boulder there that we were just trying so this is a boulder at our home gym, Climbers Rock, and this is a good time to shout it out. Climbers Rock is a title sponsor for our YouTube channel, and it's, Maddie and I's home gym in Toronto, and it's the best climbing gym in the Toronto area. So you can check out the link in the description for more information. So that boulder was sort of the first time I noticed myself having to use almost a side-to-side swing element. And it was almost like I took it even a step further on that boulder, where it wasn't even side-to-side swing, but I actually swung forward and like sort of facing away in the direction that I was going to go. And so that's like my tip of the day for today is actually sometimes, by the way, we're at Boulderhaus doing our workout for session 2, rested a couple hours and went to the gym. And so we did, like on that boulder, like my tip of the day is actually that sometimes it's not even like the side to side swing that can help you sort of do what would have been like a forward facing swing really well. Sometimes you can even take it a step further and face away. So that boulder I had actually worked it for a while where I just had these two holds and I was like doing a front on swing and it wasn't working for me and I couldn't stick the move for the life of me. And then I did this thing where I swung forward and used the sort of rotation of myself going from forward to the other way. And that rotation almost gave me the momentum that I needed to get like this hand foot stab. And so the tip of the day isn't necessarily to do where you just face away and you like turn around, but the tip of the day is that side to side swing isn't always going to work like by default. It's been working a lot for me recently, but it doesn't always work, and some people don't really like it. And also, like the front on swing won't really work all the time. So today's tip of the day is that really just play around with your swings, and sometimes you can do a like just sort of a front facing swing, and that's going to work. Sometimes you can do my side to side swing that I've been preaching a lot, and sometimes take it a step further and you face away from the direction you're going and use the rotation of you turning from the opposite direction and then facing the way you're going to go, and that will give you enough momentum. So yeah, there's like a whole lot of different ways you can do swings, and all you got to do is go watch some World Cups and just pay attention to like the Japanese athletes. They're very good at this, you know, where they're just like facing away sometimes and they spin around and do all this crazy stuff. And this is sort of just like my take and my perspective on these sort of new school swings, is that you can really play around with your direction and your rotation. Oftentimes, just the force of your body rotating can give you actually more momentum to do a swing. And then this clip also that I have on the screen here, this is as I was sort of going through my archives, just like looking at my swings, I came across this boulder, which is a boulder from the Studio Block Masters Finals this year. Obviously, I didn't make finals. I just did this boulder after the competition. And I noticed, like I was kind of looking at this boulder and I was like, oh, that's right. This boulder was actually the first time that I sort of implemented that step-by-step process of like this sort of front-on swing that I was talking about. It was the first boulder, it was the first video episode after our sort of Montreal trip where like I did the jackalope competition. So our first session back after we came to Germany, I was trying this boulder where I was really like talking about this front-on swing and sort of the step-by-step process that I built. I'm going to link that video in the description and you can like go check out this boulder. And that was like sort of my tip of the day for that video as well, was this sort of front-on swing technique that you can use. And I found this clip of this boulder, and this is sort of the first time I built this step-by-step routine for me. And I found myself having to relearn it and remember it when I was trying the boulder from a couple weeks ago that in the video that I just linked. And they're like a very similar move, and you can see how this sort of like step-by-step technique can be applied from boulder to boulder. And oftentimes, like I'm gonna try and like start backing up my tips of the day with like another clip of another boulder where I use a similar technique, so that it doesn't just look like, oh, that was just sort of, you can't call it a tip of the day if it only worked for this one boulder that you did. I'll try and sort of almost give some more evidence to the tips of the day that I give sometimes. So here's just like a sort of another fun example of how my front-on swing technique, sort of step-by-step thing that I was talking about in the episode a few weeks ago, can be applied into another boulder. And I almost did the step-by-step process verbatim on that boulder. And that boulder was super cool. Obviously, like that was like such an epic boulder. But yeah, anyway, that wrapped up today's day of training. Just a pretty like, classic grinding out the strength training day of training, campus session, workout, nothing too exciting, too crazy. But that being said, tomorrow we got a really fun episode on the schedule. Well, not episode, actually. I will mention that I won't film an episode of COMPCLIMB tomorrow. Just because the setting video is going to kind of be its own sort of video. You can expect it tomorrow, I'm sure. And then I'm going to do endurance after, but I probably won't just like make an episode of me doing endurance. So I just won't film that session of endurance. And you can just expect like a sort of fun video of like us setting the comp wall at Studio Block tomorrow. And then I'll help the setters forerun. So tune in for that. It should be a lot of fun. Insert catchy video outro here.